Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Lucky Fortune English podcast. I'm Vincent, and I am so excited for this week's deep dive. It's all about horoscopes.
And I'm Jenny, ready to unpack all those fascinating astrological insights, but just for Libra, Scorpio, and Sagittarius for the week of January 19th to the 25th.
All right, sounds good. So let's jump right in. First up, we have Libra, and the overall energy for you this week is looking incredibly bright.
Really?
Romance, joy, and beauty. But it's not just about indulging in all the good things in life. There's also like a push towards adventure, creativity, and maybe even a little bit of risk-taking.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? What's even more interesting is that this lighthearted energy this week is actually connected to a much larger astrological cycle.
Oh, wow.
So for Libra, this week could be the beginning of a major shift in their love lives, a shift that could play out over the next 2 decades.
Wow, so this week's romantic energy isn't just fleeting. It's like setting the stage for something much bigger.
Mm.
I bet our Libra listeners are loving that. But wait, there's a little catch a cautionary note about bosses. Apparently, they might be a bit on edge until late April.
Yes, that's right. The stars suggest that bosses, regardless of their sign, might be a little short-tempered and impatient during this period. So for Libra, who thrives on harmony and balance, this could create some friction. The key here is to use your natural diplomacy and charm to navigate these potentially choppy waters.
So use that Libra grace to smooth things over and keep those relationships balanced. Got it. Now let's switch gears for a moment. The horoscope also mentions children having something to say and a generally pleasant atmosphere in the workplace.
Yeah, this stood out to me. It suggests that communication with younger people could be particularly insightful for Libra this week. Maybe a child in your life has a perspective you haven't considered. And that harmonious work environment, don't take it for granted, nurture those positive connections with colleagues.
All right, now for the day-by-day breakdown. Sunday and Monday are all about energy and charisma for Libra. It's like a cosmic spotlight shining on you, giving you that extra oomph. The advice is to start any significant projects before 7 p.m. on Sunday, and then on Monday, tackle challenges with like a lighthearted approach. What's the reasoning behind that specific timing, though?
It likely has to do with the planetary alignments. Sunday evening might hold a particularly favorable configuration for starting new ventures. As for Monday, staying adaptable and not getting bogged down in details will be key to success.
Makes sense, right? Tuesday through Thursday seems to be all about finances, buying, selling, and connecting with friends. Thursday afternoon, however, has a bit of a warning sign potential for both good and bad aspects.
Exactly. It's like the universe is presenting Libra with a fork in the road on Thursday afternoon. One path leads to opportunity, the other to potential pitfalls. This is where Libra's ability to weigh options and make balanced decisions will be crucial.
So pay attention to your intuition, Libra, especially when it comes to any financial dealings on Thursday. Don't rush into anything without carefully considering the consequences. Okay, we're wrapping up Libra's week with Friday and Saturday, which seem to be focused on errands, travel, and communication. Interestingly, there's a chance to see that impatient boss's softer side. What do you make of that?
Perhaps there's an opportunity for unexpected connection or even a breakthrough in your work relationships. Maybe you'll catch your boss in a more relaxed setting and gain a new perspective on their behavior.
Okay, let's move on to Scorpio. The month ahead looks like it's all about home, family, and finding those cozy, happy moments.
And this cozy inward focus is actually part of a much larger astrological shift that will be impacting Scorpio over the next 20 years. There's a potential for a stronger emphasis on home life security and connecting with nature.
That sounds really grounding, a chance to really build a solid foundation. Speaking of powerful Scorpios, who else is a Scorpio? President Biden. And this period, astrologically speaking, might bring transitions or changes in leadership roles.
Now that you mention it, I can see how those themes align with this particular energy for Scorpio. Now a word of caution for our Scorpio friends. Be mindful of how you express yourself this week, especially when it comes to strong opinions. It might be wise to avoid situations that could lead to conflict arguments or even legal issues.
Pick your battles, Scorpio, and know when to walk away. Now on to a lighter subject, romance. Until February 4th, it looks like there's an abundance of sweetness and charm surrounding children and romantic relationships for Scorpio.
Yes, Venus, the planet of love and beauty, is making a favorable aspect to Scorpio.
Okay, let's get into the day-by-day breakdown for Scorpio. Sunday is all about rest, reflection, and planning.
This is the perfect time for Scorpio to recharge their batteries. Journaling, meditation, or simply spending time in nature could be incredibly restorative use this day to set your intentions for the week ahead.
Sounds very Zen. Now, Monday might bring some challenging energy in those same areas of reflection and planning, so maybe hold off on making any major decisions then. But then Tuesday through Thursday, really picks up high energy, charisma, and efficiency are the key words here. It's Scorpio's time to shine.
Absolutely. This is a time for Scorpio to be visible, initiate important projects, and really go after their goals. Tuesday might present some obstacles, but with persistence, they can be overcome. And Thursday is a wild card. It's described as having a dramatic mix of both good and bad luck.
So buckle up for Thursday. Scorpio flexibility and staying open to the unexpected will be key. Finally, Friday and Saturday look like a time for finances, casual connections, and maybe picking up a new book or diving into a fascinating online course. And Friday evening has particularly good energy.
Scorpio's intuition might be heightened on Friday evening, making it a great time for decision-making or trusting your gut. And Saturday afternoon looks promising for romance if you're single Scorpio. This could be a time to put yourself out there and see what sparks fly.
Okay, last but not least, we have Sagittarius. This month is all about errands, communication, paperworks, short trips, and new connections. But it's not just about busy work. There's also an element of curiosity and exploration here.
What's fascinating is how this connects to larger astrological cycles. Sagittarius might find that their communication and paperwork increasingly relate to government or institutional matters in the coming years. This could be related to certain long-term planetary transits impacting your sign.
Okay, so maybe start brushing up on your bureaucratic lingo, Sagittarius. Now, there's also a rather intriguing warning here about avoiding slander or defamation over the next 19 years. And it seems like you might be leaning towards greater privacy and guardedness in your communication.
That's right. This suggests a need for careful consideration in how you express yourself, Sagittarius. Choosing your words wisely and being mindful of the potential impact of your communication will be key.
Definitely something to keep in mind. Okay, moving on to a topic that might pique some interest. It seems like Sagittarius might be experiencing heightened sexual energy until late April, but there's also a tendency for impulsive financial decisions during the same period.
This is a time for caution, Sagittarius, that heightened energy can be channeled creatively, but when it comes to finances, strategic thinking is essential. Avoid making rash investments or purchases you might regret later.
So channel that passion into something positive, Sagittarius, and maybe steer clear of those impulse buys.
Yeah.
On a brighter note, there's a lovely energy surrounding home life until February 4th, and the next 2 weeks are perfect for visualizing and planning relationships, relocations, and even public opportunities.
This timing aligns perfectly with some upcoming astrological shifts for Sagittarius. February 4th marks the beginning of a period of increased romantic luck that lasts until early June. So use these next 2 weeks to get clear on your desires in the realm of love and partnerships.
Time to break down those days of the week. Sunday is looking fantastic, Sagittarius, but Monday might bring some social challenges.
Sagittarius can make the most of Sunday's positive energy by connecting with loved ones, pursuing hobbies, or simply enjoying some downtime. As for Monday's potential difficulties, it might be best to avoid any high-pressure social situations or confrontations.
All right, let's move on to Tuesday through Thursday. Tuesday is all about introspection planning and potentially some obstacles to overcome. Wednesday looks like a more productive day, and then Thursday. Well, Thursday is being described as wild, lucky, and left-leaning.
This is a day when Sagittarius might need to embrace flexibility and go with the flow. The unexpected could be a theme, and opportunities might arise from unusual sources. As for the left-leaning energy, this could relate to a focus on social justice, progressive ideas, or simply a willingness to challenge the status quo.
Sounds like a potentially exciting day. Finally, we wrap up the week with Friday and Saturday, which bring a surge in energy and charisma for Sagittarius, but there's also a need for practicality and a willingness to overcome any obstacles that might stand in your way. And the good news is that with a bit of effort, successful outcomes are likely.
This is a time for Sagittarius to channel their energy into focused action and to use their determination to achieve their goals. The challenges they encounter will only make their eventual success that much sweeter.
So there you have it, folks. A detailed look at what the stars have in store for Libra, Scorpio, and Sagittarius this week. But before we move on, there's something I want to point out. We've been talking about these horoscopes as if they apply to everyone born under a certain sign. But we know it's not that simple, right?
Absolutely. It's so important to remember that these weekly forecasts are meant to offer general guidance. Everyone's birth chart is unique, like a cosmic fingerprint.
So while these insights can be incredibly helpful, it's really about taking this information and applying it to your own individual circumstances. We're all co-creators of our own lives. The stars might provide a map, but ultimately we choose the path we take.
I love that analogy. It reminds us that we have agency. Speaking of individual journeys, this might be a good time to remind our listeners about the importance of moon signs.
Yes. Your moon sign reveals so much about your emotional nature, your inner world, how you nurture yourself and others.
It adds another layer of depth to understanding how these weekly transits might be affecting you personally.
Exactly. Knowing your moon sign can also shed light on your relationship patterns and help you cultivate greater self-compassion. It's like having a secret decoder ring for understanding your emotional landscape. Okay, switching gears a bit, I'm curious about some of the bigger astrological events happening in 2025. We've already touched on a few, like the long-term influences impacting Scorpio and the upcoming period of romantic luck for Sagittarius. What else is on the cosmic agenda?
Well, one major event to watch out for is the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction in Pisces, which happens in April. This alignment is all about expanding our dreams, connecting with our intuition, and tapping into our spiritual potential.
Wow, that sounds powerful. Any particular signs this will affect more strongly?
While all signs will feel the influence of this conjunction, water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces are likely to experience it most intensely. It could be a time of profound spiritual awakenings, creative breakthroughs, and a deepening of their emotional lives.
So if you're a water sign, get ready for a cosmic wave of inspiration. Okay, what else is shaking things up in 2025?
In June, we have a Saturn-Uranus square, which can be a bit more challenging. This aspect represents a clash between the old and the new tradition and innovation structure and freedom. It can be a time of upheaval and change as we're forced to confront outdated beliefs and systems.
A bit of a cosmic shakeup. Who will feel this most strongly?
This aspect can be especially potent for fixed signs Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, as it challenges their need for stability and control. But it can also be a time of breakthroughs and liberation as they're pushed to embrace new possibilities and step outside of their comfort zones.
It sounds like 2025 is shaping up to be a year of both profound transformation and exciting new beginnings. So much to look forward to. So talking about all these astrological events and influences has me thinking,
What's on your mind?
we often hear people say, oh, I'm not really into astrology.
Yeah.
But aren't we all influenced by these cosmic energies, whether we're aware of it or not?
That's such an interesting point. I think there's a tendency to dismiss astrology as something frivolous or superstitious, but when you really delve into it, you realize it's a system for understanding patterns and cycles, and those patterns exist everywhere in nature and human behavior in the very fabric of the universe.
Exactly. It's like astrology is giving us a language to decode those patterns, to see the interconnectedness of everything.
And that awareness can be incredibly empowering. It allows us to move through life with a greater sense of purpose and understanding.
I totally agree. It's like having this cosmic roadmap, not to dictate our every move, but to help us navigate the twists and turns of life with more grace and awareness.
I love that perspective. And even if someone doesn't resonate with the predictive aspects of astrology, there's so much value in exploring the archetypes and symbolism associated with the planets and signs. It can be a powerful tool for self-discovery.
I'm with you on that. When we started this deep dive, we focused on the weekly horoscopes. But this conversation has really expanded my understanding of astrology as a whole.
That's the beauty of these deep dives. We start with a specific topic, and it opens up all these other avenues of exploration.
Before we wrap up, I want to touch on one more thing that often comes up in astrology, compatibility. We've been talking about individual signs, but what about those connections between signs?
Ah, yes. The age-old question of who's compatible with whom.
Exactly. It's fascinating how certain signs just seem to click while others might clash. What's the astrological take on this?
Astrologers typically consider the elements and modalities of the signs when assessing compatibility. For example, Libra is an air sign known for its intellectualism, diplomacy, and love of harmony. They tend to resonate with other air signs like Gemini and Aquarius, who share their love of communication and mental stimulation.
That makes sense. Birds of a feather flock together. What about fire signs like Sagittarius?
Sagittarius, the adventurer of the zodiac, often thrives in relationships with other fire signs like Aries and Leo. They share a zest for life and a passion for exploration. It's a dynamic and energetic pairing.
So lots of sparks flying there. What about Scorpio? They're a water sign known for their intensity and emotional depth.
Scorpio often connects deeply with other water signs like Cancer and Pisces who understand their emotional sensitivity and intuitive nature, but interestingly, they can also be drawn to earth signs like Taurus and Virgo.
Really? Why is that?
Earth signs bring a sense of stability and grounding to the relationship, which can be very appealing to Scorpio's intense nature. And in turn, Scorpio can help Earth signs connect more deeply with their emotions and passions.
So it's a nice balance of energies, but of course these are just general guidelines.
Exactly. The best way to determine compatibility is to look at the individual birth charts of two people. It's like getting a personalized compatibility report from the cosmos.
I love that. Okay, I think we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, from weekly horoscopes to astrological events, compatibility, and even the importance of moon signs. We've really journeyed through the cosmos together.
It's been a fascinating exploration. I hope our listeners feel inspired to learn more about the power of astrology and how it can enhance their lives.
Me too. And speaking of enhancing our lives, before we sign off, I have one final thought to leave our listeners with. We've talked about how astrology can provide insights and guidance. But at the end of the day, it's not about letting the stars, dictate our lives. It's about using this knowledge to empower ourselves.
I couldn't agree more. Astrology is a tool for self-awareness and growth. It's not about surrendering our free will. It's about understanding our strengths, our challenges, and our potential.
Exactly. It's like having a cosmic mirror reflecting back to us our own unique patterns and tendencies. And once we see those patterns clearly, we can choose how we want to engage with them.
That's a beautiful way to put it. It's about taking ownership of our journey, recognizing that we have the power to shape our own destiny.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So to all our amazing listeners out there, thank you for joining us on this astrological adventure. We hope you found it insightful, inspiring, and maybe even a little bit transformative.
We had a blast exploring these cosmic themes with you. And remember, the journey doesn't end here. Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep looking up at the stars with wonder and curiosity.
Perfectly said. Don't forget to subscribe to the Lucky Fortune English podcast for more deep dives into all sorts of fascinating topics.
And remember, subscribing brings good luck. See you again.